All right, welcome to our first edition of the Locker Room Podcast. I'm with my co-host, Trevor Lesnicki. Trevor, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Today,
right.
we're going to be on the subject of talking about the NFL. So far this season, we're going to mention some things, some topics about MVP candidates, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, all that jazz. Maybe some pros and cons of the 17-game season, because that's new this year. And, yeah, kind of anything else. I know we're going to finish the podcast talking about our favorite topic, the Chicago Bears and their offense and their head coach issues. So, but we can go and get started. Trevor, it's great to have you here. So the first thing I want to talk about, so the 17-game season. Okay, so yes or no, pros and cons. What do you think of the 17-game season?
I don't know. It's not much of a difference. Only thing is possibility of more injuries. I mean,
agree.
that's my big take on that. You got to pay players more.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. You know,
I mean, that's my take on it. I mean, it's not really much of a difference in my opinion.
Yeah. What about no, I agree with you there. You know, your players are due to a higher risk of injury. Obviously playing that extra game. But I mean, you do think about it, it does kind of play effect with the playoffs. You know, they do have one more game. You know, that could be a deciding factor in a lot of stuff with like the wild card and everything. But so here's the next question leading into it. So stats. What about records? Is that going to affect someone breaking an old record?
Yeah.
Do you think that should play an effect, or do you think it should be a whole new? This is a 17-game record thing. You know, because go on.
I basically think you're starting over. Because, I mean, 17 games, you have more time. You get a whole nother game.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it comes down to the last game where records are broken, like rushing yards, stuff like that. I mean, you got a whole nother game. So,
yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it should be a clean slate as far as records. Maybe not necessarily single game records. You know, that's because that doesn't really matter. But, you know, as far as like in a season, you know, so, yeah, I think it should be a whole clean slate. I think that, you know, no more 16-game records should be broken unless they're, like you said, single season or whatever. But, so, yeah, that's kind of want to get that. That's, you know, starting off this new podcast and it's kind of like starting off the season. We're heading into week 7 already, which is crazy. So I felt like that was a good topic to kind of start with, just kind of see, you know, like I said, new season, you know, new changes and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, too. You're going to see, you know, different records at the end of the season. It's going to be a little like weird, more exciting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We're not used to that 17-game season. So we'll see. It might make it more exciting at the end, don't you think?
No, I think so. I think, yeah, definitely. I think that's the one main factor is, you know, it's going to be closer towards the end as far as playoffs go and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it doesn't really affect me. I mean, I know there's some people that want the 16-game season. I know it's kind of up in the air with some people, and I'm sure some players as well. I know there's some players that aren't happy with the 17-game season.
Yeah.
You know, just because they have that risk to injury, and but then, you know, you're making millions of dollars anyways.
Right.
So I mean, and you get to play something that you love doing. You know, you're telling me that you only want to play 16 games, and then you wouldn't want to play an extra game.
Right. Like, I mean, most of those games, guys will probably sit out, just like any other 16 game season. You probably have some guys sit out the last game. So
I mean, exactly. You know,
it's not a huge difference, but glad to cut the preseason down because nobody cares about that.
Yeah, nobody really cares about preseason.
Entertainment-wise, we like to cut that down. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it was like 2008 where the Lions went 4-0 in preseason, and then that year they went 0-16.
Right.
So, which they're on track to do this year, unfortunately. So, but they do have. I mean, it'll be an exciting matchup. I mean, it's kind of one-sided, but they're going up against the Rams this week. Goff returning to L.A. and Stafford reuniting with the Lions. So, I mean, I guess that'll be a good game as far as emotions going and stuff like that. But I mean, it's gonna be pretty one-sided.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I got some. So while we're on the topic, with kind of individual players, let's start. Who are your MVP favorites?
I gotta say Kyler Murray. He's the most exciting, and I feel like Tom Brady's had his time, but stats wise, I feel like he's had the best numbers. He's doing great. I mean, he's having a great season, but he's got a great team to back him up. But I want to say Kyler Murray's the most exciting. I don't think the Rams are for real. So I mean, they've played great. Matthew Stafford's played great, but I think that'll kind of decline. I just don't think they're for real. I would have to go with Kyler for sure.
Yeah, Kyler's at the he's at the top of my list as well. He's not only undefeated, and like you said, he's got a great team behind him. He's got a heck of a wide receiver core. You got veterans like DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green, and you got Christian Kirk as well, and then you got guys. They just signed Zach Ertz. So I mean,
that's a big
going
pickup.
from 2-4 to 6-0. I mean, that's kind of a big adjustment, but I mean, I'm sure he's fine with it. And, he obviously, I'm sure he loved his time in Philly, winning a Super Bowl there. But then you got like rookie Rondale Moore, from Purdue. He's a speedster, and they got a really good wide receiver core. James Conner is kind of getting back in that groove after kind of being off for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And like you said, their defense as well. Buda Baker and Chandler Jones, all that stuff.
You got an older J.J. Watt on the line too, on the D line, so that always helps.
How can I forget about J.J. Watt?
Yeah, of course, man.
He's a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, so I got Kyler Murray is my number one. I mean, he's his quarterback rating I got here. He's third in the league at 67.8. He's got about 1,700 passing yards. He's only eighth in the league, but I mean, you don't necessarily look at he's got to be first, second, third in the league of passing yards. This is the guy with 1,741 passing yards. He's got 14 touchdowns. He's tied for sixth in the league. But he's leading this team. He's making ridiculous plays. He's making ridiculous throws, and why wouldn't you have him at your top for MVP candidates and some other mentions. Who I got. Tom Brady. He's playing kind of out of his mind right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of that has to do with the weapons he has around him. Chris Evans, or Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. He's got Gronk, who's unfortunately injured right now, and Antonio Brown and Leonard Fournette. I mean, they got just weapons everywhere, and their defense is something to be.
Antonio Brown's having a great year too.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that with all his off the field issues.
Yeah,
he's having a great year.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show that that's who you surround yourself with. You look at what happened. He was with the Raiders for a short time, and the Steelers wasn't working out with him, and Tom Brady takes him in, and he had him living in his home with him for some time,
I heard
and
about that.
Kind of got him on his feet, and it's like, hey, look, I need you, and that's kind of I guess what he needed to hear, because turn around and wins a Super Bowl, catches a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, and then obviously like we talked about, Matthew Stafford's another one, Josh Allen. And then Dak Prescott as well. So, Matthew Stafford's fourth in the league passing yards. Dak is fifth. Tom's up there. Tom Brady's up there he's the first one to hit 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
So, 17 touchdowns. He's tied for second. So, I mean, that's a close one. He's probably the one that'll get closest to Kyler, I think. But and then Josh Allen, like I said, he's ninth in the league in passing yards. But I mean, fifth in total touchdowns, and he's kind of playing out of his mind as well, making some ridiculous throws. So, that's kind of who I have my top five for MVPs.
Yeah, they're all playing great for sure, having good seasons.
Yep, and let's kind of talk about Matthew Stafford a little bit. Going from a team like the Lions, who were just, he could throw for 500 yards a game and throw 7 touchdowns, and they would still lose. Yeah. It was time for a change of scenery with him, and it just goes to show that I know he put his heart and soul into being with the Lions, and I'm assuming he expected to be there forever. I'm assuming he expected to lead them to a Super Bowl, but I mean, like, you put him in LA and put him with guys like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and stuff like that, Darrell Henderson, and then have a defense to back you up with guys like Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. Leonard Floyd. That just goes to show that I guess sometimes all a player needs is just a change in scenery, and he's kind of playing out of his mind. I'm glad to see that he's finally getting the recognition that he deserves. I've always been a fan of Matthew Stafford, even if he, was in the NFC North.
Yeah,
and obviously
even if he tears up the Bears.
Yeah, I've always had respect for him, and he's always been a guy that went out and did his job really well. And so who knows? But 5-1. I mean, he's leading the Rams in a good direction. Kind of going back to that 2018 year where they went. They had a really good year. Went to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. Like I said, that'll be a one-sided game, the Lions and Rams. I'm sure the emotions will be there.
You got to feel happy for him, though. I mean,
I feel really happy for him.
Just goes to show the Lions as an organization, they didn't do enough to support him. I mean, he had Calvin Johnson, and he's had some okay teams, but they just didn't do enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he got out of there.
Yeah, I'm glad he got out of there too. And but then on the flip side, you feel bad for Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I mean, 2018, you go to the Super Bowl, and you kind of have you had kind of have good years, but then going forward, but then it's just him saying, "Hey, you're going to the Lions." And I read this article, the Rams front office, and I know McVay said that they kind of felt bad sending him to Detroit.
Yeah.
Any other team could kind of use him, but I mean, like I said, the Rams definitely won that trade for sure. I mean, But yeah, like I said, always been a fan of Matthew Stafford, and he's doing great things, and he's gonna go down the Hall of Fame for me for sure.
Yeah,
he's consistent every year, and I know he perfects the sidearm throw. And a lot of people think Mahomes started that. Actually, it was Stafford who kind of started that. So he's always been a good, really consistent quarterback, and he's definitely proven that being a first overall pick. That's what they do.
I want to see him win the Super Bowl first.
Yeah.
Before we're talking about Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a great player, but I feel like at this point in his career, hasn't really accomplished anything.
Right. I feel like
Well, it's not necessarily his fault. But
no, not at all. I mean, like I said, put him with the team with the Lions, you're not really going to get very far. But he's definitely playing well, and
good for him for sure.
And I feel like he's probably one of those. It's like he wants at least just one Super Bowl.
Yeah,
there's guys out there.
Fine.
A lot of young guys are like, I want to win 5 or 6 Super Bowls. I feel like he's just like, I just give me one. Maybe 2, but I'll be happy with one. I don't know if that's how he thinks. I'm not sure, but maybe he wants 5 or 6.
I get what you're saying. I feel like that type of guy would be like Patrick Mahomes. Like, he wants more than one.
Yeah, exactly.
But Stafford's at the point in his career where, like, he'll settle with one. I mean, he hasn't really had a chance until this point in his career. So
so I mean, good for him that he's on a team that he can kind of thrive with. And I may not be the biggest fan of the Rams, but I am a Matthew Stafford fan for sure. So it's good to see him be successful.
I agree.
So we talked about MVP. Let's go to the next. Let's go. Who are your favorites for Defensive Player of the Year? Whose name isn't Aaron Donald?
I mean, I feel like you have to go with Aaron Donald, but I don't know.
I feel like
nobody
always
truly sticks out to me at this point.
Yeah, I feel like he's always like Aaron Donald's always in the conversation. Like, you're just automatically assume, Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, but you do have guys. I think my number one is, and it's so tough because I have a number one, but I have a really close second. And number one, I think it's gonna be Myles Garrett. These guys got 9.5 sacks.
That's a good point.
I mean, he tore up the Bears. I mean, just it was brutal. It
wasn't even fair.
It was 4.5 sacks in one game. I mean, come on. So 27 total tackles, 16 solo. He's a beast. I mean, he's what you want in a first overall pick. Picked in 2017.
Yeah.
And then right after that, Mitch Trubisky was picked, but we don't talk about that. But yeah, he's playing lights out, and he's probably got my number one pick for Defensive Player of the Year this year. It'd be nice to see someone other than Aaron Donald, who's a heck of a defensive player. I'm not taking that away from him at all, but when someone wins an award over and over again. You know, it's like people being sick of Tom Brady going to the Super Bowl every year and winning. MVP. You know, you want to see something new, and you know, and he's always been a really elite edge defender and pass rusher, and so that's who I have. But the close second I have is Trevon Diggs from Dallas. I mean, 7 interceptions in the first 6 games. I mean,
wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing like ridiculous right now, and you know, and what's funny is, you know, you got the Cowboys at 5-1, you got the Bills at 4-2. You know, they're both, you know, talked about Super Bowl favorites, and that would be something if it was the Cowboys and the Bills who went to the Super Bowl, and Trevon Diggs matched up against his brother Stephon Diggs in the Super Bowl. I mean, that would be something that's like ultimate bragging rights right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been playing lights out. I mean, he's got 1 touchdown, 7 interceptions. I mean, how do you not talk? How do you not mention his name in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation?
6 games, 7 interceptions. That's pretty solid.
Yep. He's got 21 total tackles, 18 solo. He's got 3 forced fumbles as well. So I mean, he's playing lights out on a good team they got a great offense. They got a great defense as well. You know.
What year is he in? When was he drafted?
Gosh.
He's early in his career.
I know he's early in his career, yeah. I can't think of it off the top of my head when Trevon Diggs was drafted. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I know he is fairly early in his career, and yeah, I mean and then obviously you got TJ Watt, who's 7 sacks through 6 games and 21 total tackles, 18 solo. He's got 3 forced fumbles as well and 1 fumble recovery. Yeah, I think those top 2, Myles Garrett and Trevon Diggs, 2 guys that I think can kind of fight for a Defensive Player of the Year. You know, usually sometimes when you think of Defensive Player of the Year, you think of these linemen or these linebackers. You know, guys like Aaron Donald who have won it, Khalil Mack who have won it, T.J. Watt, these edge rushers and these really phenomenal defensive players. But then you get guys like in 2019, Stephon Gilmore from the Patriots when he was on the Patriots. He's not anymore, but you know he wins Defensive Player of the Year. It's nice to see guys like corners and stuff like that get the award.
It's a change. It's not the same thing. Just
exactly.
Like you said with Tom Brady, tired of seeing him in the Super Bowl, man.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, I would like to see some change, and so I know they changed the season to 17 games, so hopefully that's a start. But yeah, I mean, Defensive Player of the Year. If I were to say right now, probably Myles Garrett. You know, with a very close Trevon Diggs at second.
I have to agree with you. I haven't had a chance to follow Myles Garrett much, but just from watching the Bears game and looking at his stats.
Yeah, I mean, he's ridiculous. I mean,
he's having a fantastic year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a solid player. He's pretty good at basketball, too. I don't know if you see
and
his
he's jacked. I mean, he's huge. He usually wears sleeves for games, and he went sleeveless one game, and then he got like a text or something the next day or email saying he needed to be drug tested. I'm like, that's just how big you are.
Yeah,
like,
that's big.
So yeah, he's huge, but he's a force. I saw this thing, it was like, would you rather tackle Derrick Henry or try to tackle Derrick Henry or block Myles Garrett? And I don't know. I mean,
coming from an offensive lineman, I would definitely say not blocking Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
that's a scary man for sure.
Is neither an option? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Is there an option C available? So while we're on the topic of awards, let's bump into the rookies. Who's your first? Who would you say your number one? He's got offensive rookie. Let's start with offensive rookie of the year first. Who do you think?
I would have to say Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 500, almost 600 yards through 6 games. So I mean, he's going to be like Justin Jefferson, getting 1,000 in his rookie year. He's got 5 touchdowns as well, 27 receptions. And he's got a good quarterback. He's got a good quarterback. And what's funny is, you know, throughout preseason, throughout practice, you know, you're getting all these reports. Oh, Jamar Chase dropped this many passes at practice, dropped this many passes in games. And then, like, for him to turn around and lead all rookies in receiving yards and touchdowns and be on track to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, that's kind of like blocking out the haters right there. I'm sure he's got to feel good about that.
I was going to mention that. I'm glad he didn't let that get to him. I mean, being a rookie and coming into training camp and preseason and all that, having a lot of talk about you dropping passes, I feel like a lot of people would let that get to him.
A lot of people I feel like would fold.
Yeah, and he's picked himself up and he's doing great. I mean, he's having a great year.
Well, and it helps to have a connection like a guy like Joe Burrow who you went to college with.
Yep. 2 teammates.
Yep, 2 teammates college. You won a national championship with, and so it's nice to have that chemistry.
He's in a great situation.
Yeah,
that helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So it was a good draft pick on the Bengals' part, for sure. And I mean, it shows their record from last year to this year. They're doing some things right over there, and so yeah, that's who my favorite is for Offensive Rookie of the Year. You got guys like, some honorable mentions, maybe Najee Harris from the Steelers, and maybe Mac Jones.
Yeah.
He's shown to be the most productive quarterback out of that class this year for sure. People are saying he's like a mini Tom Brady. He's the best pocket passer, I think, out of that class.
In that class, yeah. He's got a lot of interceptions, but it's his rookie year.
Yeah, rookie.
He's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's a great coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Raised Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I think he's got a good coaching staff underneath him, and so the Patriots may not be what they were with Tom Brady, but I mean, who knows? Maybe they get there again. I don't know. Coaching definitely has a lot to play in that. So, but I think Jamar Chase might have that one locked up. We'll see. I mean, we're not even halfway through the season, so
I'm glad they released Cam and let Mac Jones start.
Yeah, I think he's
getting
smart.
A lot of experience. I wish the Bears would have did the same thing, not starting Dalton.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that.
No, yeah, and
I know you agree.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That'll probably be the one thing we talk about the most tonight. So we'll talk about that last. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, there's really only one that comes to mind. Micah Parsons from the Cowboys, middle linebacker, and he's sideline to sideline. He's aggressive. He's quick. 31 tackles. He's only got 2.5 sacks, but he's got 3 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections. So, I think you kind of give it to him. He's been playing.
He's an animal.
Playing good.
I mean, I think he wrestled too at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dude's an animal. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah,
he's crazy speed for a linebacker.
Yep.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's almost like a Roquan Smith. That sideline to sideline speed, and so I think you give it to him. And I think it was smart for the Cowboys to trade their picks and pick him. So that was good on their part. And then last one, comeback player of the year. I think it's kind of obvious. I would go with Dak.
Yeah.
From breaking your ankle last year, and you could see how emotional he was about it on the field, getting carted off, and then to see what he's doing this year. He's leading a team 5-1, and he's playing like we know Dak can play, and they're contenders for sure. And I think you definitely give it to him for sure. Just like you did Alex Smith, last year and stuff like that. So just coming back from adversity and injury, and nobody ever wants to go through that. And so yeah, I would give it to him, and maybe Joe Burrow second. I mean, tearing your ACL and coming back, and I think that was like week 11 he tore his ACL. But coming now, and you're 4-2, and you're on a good path, and you got a good team with you. So, but I would give it to Dak for sure. So.
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty gruesome injury, and you got to feel for him, but he's coming back like he hasn't missed anything.
Yeah,
he's having a great year. Honestly, it's probably one of his best years yet.
Oh yeah,
you think so?
Oh, I think so. I think he's been he's been killing it for sure.
And I think the Cowboys are finally serious. They're not pretenders. They're having a great year.
Right. I know there's a lot of Cowboy haters out there, and but I mean, you got to give him respect. I mean, he's got 1,800 passing yards. He's 5th in the league, and he's tied for 3rd with 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But like I said, he's leading his team 5-1. They're one of the more explosive offenses in the league right now. So yeah, why wouldn't you give it to him? So it's good to see him back and healthy, and he's adjusted really well ever since that injury. So
I think Joe Burrow is definitely second.
Yeah, for sure.
Good honorable mention.
Yeah, definitely. So, but the Bears did beat him. So, put it that way. So, while we're on the topic of the Cowboys and Super Bowl contenders, who would you say some of your Super Bowl favorites are?
Well, I got to say the Buccaneers.
Of course, Tom Brady.
And they're still a solid team.
Yeah, they are.
He's got a lot around him, but I think that might have to do something with his success. But he's got a lot around him.
A lot of weapons.
A great team.
Yep.
Surprised about Kansas City, I would say.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what's going on there.
I'm not even. It's like you go from going to the Super Bowl back-to-back years, and now you're 3-3.
Right.
And there's a lot of season left. They could just go crazy and finish 14-3. But I mean, like, to see an offense like that with the weapons like Mahomes and Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. I mean, and you're 3-3. I'm sure nobody thought this upcoming year they would be 3-3 like that.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, they were 14-2 last year.
Yeah, 14-2 last year. And like I said, 3-3 this year. Third in the AFC West. It's not like the Chiefs, for sure. I mean, I think that's the biggest surprise team for me. Is surprise, and not in a good way, is the Chiefs. But who knows? They might bounce back.
Yeah.
They'll make the playoffs. You can't root them out. It's too early in the season to do that.
But in my opinion, it's hard for me to give credit to like the Cardinals, the Rams, or like I don't know, even like the Raiders, teams like that. You've seen Tom Brady in the Super Bowl so many times, and you kind of expect Patrick Mahomes to do the same thing. It's kind of hard for me to give credit to these other teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of teams have good seasons, but you can tell like what a Super Bowl team is, and I just don't feel like the Cowboys or the Cardinals are there yet. I'm a little iffy about the Rams. I don't know. It's hard for me, in my opinion. You know?
No, I agree with
you.
You
Know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. They're and you're not taking any credit away from them. They're having great seasons. Cardinals, they're undefeated.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's almost like, okay, yeah, they're having great seasons, but they didn't even make the Cardinals didn't make the playoffs last year. Right. They finished 9-7, and now they're undefeated. Like you kind of want to ask yourself, is it too good to be true? Because they can go 17-0 all day long, and then playoffs are one and done. They lose and they're out. It doesn't matter who. So I mean, like I said, you're not giving them. I'm not taking away any credit from them. They're playing great ball, but I think teams like, the Bucks definitely. As much as I hate to say it, the Packers. They're playing great as well, and
they scared us a little bit. First game of the season against the Saints.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Torn up by Jameis Winston.
Right. Yeah. 38-3. I mean,
they turned it around for sure.
Oh, they're 5-0 since then and playing great ball. Enough with the Packers though. But you have teams like Baltimore coming up and Buffalo and young guys like Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
These are guys that I think they've kind of built chemistry for a while now. The Cardinals they just acquired DeAndre Hopkins last year, and they got AJ Green this year, and Zach Ertz as well. So I mean, Kyler Murray might be your MVP favorite. I don't see them maybe going all the way. I see them maybe going to the championship. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we just happen to see an Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady again, which it was last year, and but it's kind of hard to be. It's kind of hard to like root out the Bucs. Like you're automatic like first Super Bowl team you think, the Bucs. Tom Brady. No. And they're playing great. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them. And
you can't really root out Rodgers too.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, if he's in the NFC Championship, trust me, I'm going to be rooting against him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, it's football. You never know. You know, the Packers, the Bucs could totally fall off. You never know. And you know, a team like the Bears and I don't know, the Vikings or the Raiders or something like that could make the Super Bowl. But I mean, it's too early to kind of tell right now. There's a lot of football left. It's not even halfway through the season. So we'll see. Definitely, it's gonna be exciting for sure. And like going back to that 17 game season, that those last couple weeks, maybe those last 2 to 3 weeks are gonna be really intense. You know, maybe guys are used to playing 16 games. Like, oh, we gotta play one more game. You know, you mentally have to prepare for that. You mentally and physically have to prepare for that. But you know, that's the great thing about sports, and that's the great thing about football is you never know. You know, it's nothing is scripted, and yeah, you never know. So, would love to see the Bears make a run. So I don't know, we'll see. But we'll talk about that towards the end. Couple more things before we wrap up here. I got my top 10. And I'll go 1 through 10, and so I'll say mine, and then if you want to give yours as well. So my number 1 team right now, since they're undefeated, I got the Cardinals. 6-0. You know, they're playing great ball, and like J.J. Watt said on the sidelines, he's like, well, you know, maybe we're just better than everyone. I mean, they've shown it. They haven't lost a game yet. So, who would you put at your number 1?
I think I got to go Green Bay. I mean, they've been so consistent every year. I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, they're a solid team.
Yeah.
5-0 since their first game. And I don't know. They look pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, they always.
Rodgers, I don't like him, but
yeah.
I have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah. Like, let's talk about that for a minute. You know, as Bears fans, you can't stand Aaron Rodgers, and you always want to, you know, beat the crap out of him. But, you know, and I know a lot of fans are upset about his comments, you know, saying to the fans, oh, I still own you. You know, yeah, that might, like, boil your blood a little bit, and you might want to go out and you just want everyone to just go break his leg next game. But, I mean, he's right. He has been owning the Bears. He's 22-5. 22-5 or something like
career?
That. Yeah, with the Bears, against the Bears.
You're right.
So, I mean, as much as you hate that, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's been owning the Bears.
Yes.
You know, ever since he's been around.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a great quarterback. He's definitely in the Hall of Fame, and he makes some unbelievable plays and unbelievable comebacks. You know, he could be down by 30 with 5 minutes left, and you can't root him out.
Yeah, he's the most exciting player in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. But, yeah, I hate to say it, but that's my number 1 for now.
Yeah, they're playing great, and I know they got some injuries defensively, and we'll kind of see how that plays in effect. And I know they got David Bakhtiari coming back from injury as well, so that'd be nice to kind of have their left tackle. So number 2 for me, I do have Dallas at 5-1. I have them number 2. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Dallas. I'm not a fan of Stephen A. Smith, but he does hate Dallas.
Yeah.
I can't stand Dallas fans, but I don't know. I have them a little lower.
They're like Dodgers fans.
Yes. Absolutely. I have them a little lower.
Yeah.
You might not agree, but I definitely would go with the Bucs.
No, I mean, that's a good second.
Yeah.
I mean,
both
5-1.
They're just a well-rounded team. It's not just Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Defense is solid.
For sure.
He's got good receivers, tight ends.
Yeah.
Good line. Running backs are decent.
Yeah.
Fournette and who's their other running back?
Ronald Jones.
I mean, they're both solid running back. I mean, the whole team is just well-rounded.
Yeah.
And then you have Tom Brady, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard in my opinion, it's hard to root against him.
Yeah, I actually have the Bucs at 4, which might kind of surprise some people, but I have the Bills actually at number 3. I know they had that close game with the Titans, but I mean, you got to give them credit. They have been playing great ball, and Josh Allen has been having an MVP type year. So I actually have the Bucs at number 4 on my list, which might surprise some people. But I think that's a good spot for them, considering the fact that we could throw in an AFC team in there. But the Bills at number 3. I mean, I know they're 4-2, and they had a close one against Tennessee. But they've been playing great as well. I feel like they're a team that could go far in the playoffs. For me, they're Super Bowl favorites as well. Like I said, Josh Allen's been having a MVP caliber season. Your thoughts on that? Number 3, would you say?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I have Baltimore at 4 and the Bills at 3. I think Buffalo is going to expand on their season last year.
Mm-hmm.
They had a great season, but I think this is their year. They're having a great year. So I think they'll win the AFC. And honestly, anybody after those 3, I can't see, like Baltimore. I don't know. I definitely see the Bucs or Packers making it to the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl. But at 3, I definitely have Buffalo and see them expanding on their great year last year.
For sure. Yeah, no, I could see a Brady and Josh Allen, or I could see Rodgers and Josh Allen Super Bowl. So, I mean, they're a great team. Coach McDermott's doing a great job with them, and they showed last season. It'd be nice for the fans to see, playoff Bills football and then, win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that would be nice for them.
They lost 4 in a row, right?
Yep.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's sad for Bills fans.
Yep. So I'm sure they're not thinking about that right now, though.
No.
They
high hopes for this year for sure.
And years going forward, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they lock up guys like Stephon Diggs and they lock up Josh Allen and other weapons. They got other weapons around them, stuff like that too. Yeah. So that's who I have at number 3, and then like I said, I have the Bucs at 4. You said you have the Ravens at 4.
Yeah.
Comfortable for them.
Yeah.
I have them a little bit lower on my list. And then number 5, I do have Green Bay. And it's not because I don't like Green Bay. I don't like Green Bay. But they have had close games. I mean, the Bears did hang with them for a little bit. The Bengals, same thing. They got blown out the first game of the season, 38-3. So they're dominating, but they're not dominating like they usually would. I don't see. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Rodgers made it to the NFC Championship and lost again. I mean, that's kind of how it is.
Like you said, I mean, they're kind of hanging in there with other teams. I mean, the only dominant win they've really had was the Lions, and
that's the Lions.
Yeah.
Are they even a team? Yeah.
At this point, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's really their only dominant win.
You can take the number 1 XFL team, take them against the Lions.
I think
maybe they can switch or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I have them in a pretty good spot, kind of in the middle, right there in the top 10. Like I said, they haven't been totally dominating.
Right.
But they're still Packers. They're still Aaron Rodgers, and
they're still
Devontae
5-1.
Adams. Yep, they're still 5-1. They'll most likely take the division again.
Yep.
Number 6 and 7 for me were kind of tough. I had the Rams at 6 and the Ravens at 7. I have the Rams at 6 just because their defense has always been good. Their defense has always been top tier, and I don't know. I like what the Rams offense is doing this year. I think new quarterback, they're kind of heading in a different direction. I'm not thinking necessarily too far in the playoffs, but I do think that putting them right about there. I mean, they're 5-1, and they've definitely earned it. Maybe some people might think they deserve to be a little bit higher, but I mean, that's who I have at 6 is the Rams. I mean,
6, I got Arizona. I mean, I know they're the only undefeated team, right? But I don't know. They have a great receiving core. They have Kyler Murray. He's playing out of his mind. I just feel like they're not quite there yet. And I know that's kind of hard to understand for a 6-0 team.
Right,
but,
exactly. It's like they need to mature.
Yeah.
They need to mature and stuff like that.
Experience, some more time together.
Go on.
I just don't think they're quite there yet.
Well, you look at teams like the Bucs, who have Tom Brady, and the Packers, who have Aaron Rodgers. You look at teams like that, and they have experience You know, they're mature. They're mature teams, and I mean, yeah, the Cardinals have some veterans. You know, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green. But you know, we'll see. I mean, who knows? They could make the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they won't.
And I know you had them at your number one, but I don't know. I don't see that in them just quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll see how the season progresses.
Growing, they need to grow some more a little bit. I agree with that. And then I had Baltimore at number 7, last 5-1 team on this list. I just think they're playing good ball. Lamar Jackson is doing better than his MVP year, but I think it's gonna be the same thing. They're not gonna get far in the playoffs. I think they're gonna be a first round exit. You know, honestly.
No, I agree.
That's kind of how that's kind of Lamar's resume. You know, in the playoffs usually. So, you know, they're a great team. Don't get me wrong, but it was almost like, oh, they were the last 5-1 team. Okay, I gotta put them in my top 10.
Yeah.
And I felt like 8 through 10 would have been too low for them. So, that's what I have. And who knows? Like I said, it's football. You never know with teams like that. So, who would you have at number 7?
I got Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah. Basically, off what you said, I feel like they're still not quite there yet. I feel like they're doing better than past seasons. Like, they've expanded more, playing solid. Their defense is a lot better. They weren't bad, but they got some solid linebackers.
Yeah.
Like you said, Michael Parsons, he's playing out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like Dak Prescott's not an elite quarterback. He's good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Something about him just I can't put him in the elite category. You know what I mean?
Not just yet. I think maybe eventually he'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty solid, and I would say he's consistent.
And I've always had respect for Dak. I mean, his rookie year. Look what he did his rookie year. You know, offensive rookie of the year, and you know, the Cowboys definitely found their franchise quarterback for sure. So,
there's no question about that.
The number 9 I had, or number 8 I had the Chargers. Justin Herbert's been playing really well, and their coaching staff as well. And then at the bottom 2 I have Tennessee at 4-2, and then the Bengals I have at 4-2 at number 10. And if you notice, I didn't say the Chiefs are not on my top 10. And I know some people are like, oh, Patrick Mahomes, oh, the Chiefs, like Andy Reid, they went to the back-to-back Super Bowls. Well, yeah, but you can't. They could go 3-4, and people would still have them in their top 10.
Yeah, but at this point, they're not in the top 10.
Exactly.
You know, the way they're playing, their record.
They're like on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not there yet.
Yeah. So
I have faith in them that they will get there. They're a solid team. They're not gonna
solid team, great coach. But like I said, they're on the outside looking in for now. You never know, that could totally change. But yeah, I got Cincinnati locking up that number 10 spot at 4-2. You know, that from being 4-11 last year. It's and now you're kind of taking control of the AFC North. I mean, they're doing pretty good. I mean, yeah, they're behind the Ravens 5-1, but I could see them as maybe making a splash in the playoffs for sure.
Right.
Like I said, there's a lot of season left, but definitely a lot of improvement since last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
it's good to see Joe Burrow back too.
Yes, agreed.
So I have at 8. I have Tennessee. I know the Chargers are playing well this far. Justin Herbert. I don't know. I have a lot more faith in Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. They have the experience too, and I know thus far that Chargers have played pretty great. But I mean, we've seen the Titans in the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah. No, they'll get a playoff spot. Yeah, for sure. I think.
And I think as the season goes along, we might see a decline in the Chargers play. That's my opinion. Well, it's one of those teams. I just don't think they're there yet. I think they're on the incline.
Yeah, for sure.
They'll be good in the future, but it's just I don't see them. You know, they might get a playoff spot, but I don't see them winning any games in playoffs.
Right.
They should have a good year.
For sure.
I definitely have Tennessee at 8. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati at 9.
Okay. Much earned for them.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, that might just be I feel for them. You know, they've had bad seasons. They had to deal with Andy Dalton. They had, like you said, 4-11 last year.
Yeah.
And it's good to see Joe Burrow back. He's playing fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Cincinnati. It's like you said, well earned. Then I see the Chargers at 8. No, I said them at 10. Yeah. I think Cincinnati and Tennessee are both. I think they
a little bit better than the Chargers.
They're just a little bit better, like a step ahead of the Chargers.
Yeah, for sure. And you never know. Could be a change. We're not even halfway through the season, so that's our top 10.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Change. Yep. I would love obviously to see the Bears, but it's like pulling teeth with them. My goodness. And let's finish off with that. Talking about the Bears. This one I don't really have to go off a script. We're not going off a script now, but I mean I can really just kind of let my mind go with this. So let's talk about our final take, which is really, really personal to both of us. And I'm going to look at the camera when I talk about this. It's the Chicago Bears and their offense and their head coach and just everything except their defense. Maybe some things on defense, but more specifically their offense. And Trevor, I know you're there with me as well. So, I have total offense stats right here. Okay, I have all the offense. You know, I'm looking through it and I'm like, okay, you got the Cowboys, you got the Chiefs, you got the Bucks, Ravens. They're all, up there as far as offense. And you're looking and you're like, okay, all right. Okay, yeah, you're looking down and you're like, okay, I still don't see the Bears. You see the Lions, okay, but you don't see the Bears. And then you look and, so you see the Texans, you see the Dolphins, you see the Jets, okay? You even see the Jaguars, right? Trevor, you know who's at the bottom of that list?
Okay, let me see that.
Yeah. So in total offense, in offensive stats, the Bears are dead last.
What a joke. They're not even close.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, so let's go back to the draft. Okay? Let's go back to the draft. The Bears trade up for the number 11 overall pick. Okay? They get Justin Fields. All right? Fans are going crazy, right? And I love Justin Fields. I mean, represent, right? And I truly believe that we found our franchise quarterback. But as a head coach, okay, you cannot trade up to get one of the most athletic and explosive quarterbacks in that draft class, and you cannot treat them like that at all. How your play calling is, I don't care if you switch to the play calling, it still sucks, okay? It's horrible, all right? You can't have it be 3rd and 27 and throw a 5-yard screen and expect, hey, we're going to get a first down on this play. That's not going to happen. I mean, the play calling is horrible. I mean, it's awful.
I think he means well. I think he thinks he's doing the right thing by starting Andy Dalton and trying to get Justin Fields to work in a little bit. I think that's the wrong fucking move.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely. Like, you got to let him get experience. The only way he's going to get experience if he plays.
You got to let him. You can't. You have to let him be Justin Fields. You can't let him be Matt Nagy's prodigy.
Right.
That's that. You have to let him be Justin Fields. Okay. I mean, he runs a 4.40, right? And I do believe that the Bears have found their franchise quarterback.
Absolutely.
In Justin Fields.
And I don't think Nagy is going to take him to his full potential. I don't think he's going to do that. I get that he means well and he's trying to do the proper thing, like have Andy Dalton take him under his wing. I think that's the wrong call. I wish he would have started him off the bat, and unfortunately for Andy Dalton, he tweaked his knee a little bit. Yep. I think I speak for all Bears fans. You're kind of glad that Andy tweaked his knee a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, you never want to wish an injury upon someone, but, I mean, it's almost like one of those, you're like, oh, man, but you're like low-key smiling on the inside.
Yeah.
And, him starting forward, going forward in the season, that's a great move, I think. But, I mean, you can't hold back from Justin Fields. You cannot.
No.
I guarantee you, if you were to go to any other team, he would be in talks of being offensive rookie of the year right now. And I know that's what they predicted him to be this year, but he can't. The Bears aren't going to win with the coaching staff. Like their head coach is Matt Nagy,
no.
right? And
I think it's his last year.
Yeah, it's got to be.
If it's not, then I don't know.
I mean,
it's got to be his last year.
Yeah,
and if they play worse, I hope he doesn't make it through the season because he just doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, I think is him winning Coach of the Year in 2018 got to his head.
Absolutely.
You know, taking a team.
I think it was almost a fluke.
Yeah.
I think it had a lot to do with the defense.
Oh, it had everything to do with the defense.
I think his play calling threw a lot of people off, his little trick plays and stuff like that. And they kind of caught on to that, and I want to say it was a fluke.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, as a coach, you got to own up to your responsibilities, and he doesn't. He doesn't, and he didn't even, you know, make it known that he was switching the play calling to Bill Lazor. You know, and it's just this team is, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be a diehard Bears fan for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
But they're so difficult to watch, and especially with the kind of defensive players that we have, you know, Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, who is someone who is an all-pro snub, right? I mean, he puts up consistent stats every year. You know, he's one of the best middle linebackers in the league. You got, you know, upcoming Jalen Johnson, who is a lockdown cornerback. But then
you're wasting their potential.
Exactly.
You got the defense there, and offense is bottom of the league.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the time you turn the offense around, everybody's gonna be gone.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one person I'm disappointed in is Eddie Jackson.
Oh.
He cannot tackle. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was that changed from him having a monster year in 2018. You know, and even 2019 he had an okay year. But what changed? I mean, you can't go up to someone and just lower your shoulder and expect to take him down. Like,
he's playing soft.
Yeah,
the aggression's gone.
And what happened was he got paid, right? He got his extension, and he's like, "Oh, I got this money. Who cares?" Like, he's totally out of it mentally, you know, and that shows. I mean, the Bears have 1 interception this year, 2 interceptions this year. You know, when in 2018 they had like 15 or something like that. You know, and I mean, don't get me wrong. They're still for me, they're still a top 10 defense in the league. You got a guy like Robert Quinn who had an awful year last year and who has really stepped up. I mean,
he stepped up big time.
The Bears lead the league in sacks, and Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn are the league's leading sack duo. But I mean, my goodness, like something needs to change. And
you think things would be different if they benched Jackson? They benched Eddie Jackson. Maybe like, hey man,
I don't know.
You know, you're not playing to your potential.
I don't know.
We gotta give another guy experience.
I feel like that would stir up a lot of drama, and that's one thing that the Bears don't need right now. And I mean, they're 3-3. I mean, you can see that the offense is like wanting to get better, you know. And obviously Tariq Cohen going down with his ACL last year, and David Montgomery out several weeks. You know, you got guys like Khalil Herbert who's stepping up, rushed for 167 yards last week, and had a touchdown. You know, as a rookie, I mean, he's doing good. You got guys like, you know, Darnell Mooney, who I think, and I'm going to talk about this. I think Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, that's going to be the next Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Yeah, that's going to be the next. I mean,
it's a good combo.
Yeah, like
he's always hitting Mooney.
Yeah, it's going to be a good. I mean, Mooney's fast, and so I think they're going to be one of the top quarterback wide receiver duos in the future. I think for sure. But then you got like Allen Robinson, who, I mean, he puts a back-to-back 1,000-yard receiver. And I mean, so the problem was quarterback-wise. It's not anymore. It's just the coaching. You know, it's the coaching. I think the offensive line isn't that bad. I don't think it's that bad.
No, they've held their own.
Yeah, I mean
except for against Cleveland, but.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We mentioned that a little bit.
Other than that, they've held their own.
Yeah, and
which is surprising, but
right.
You know, I'm kind of proud of them.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean they're playing. It's just the coaching. You know, it's the play calling. You gotta let Justin Fields be Justin Fields, and I mean, obviously I want them to go to the Super Bowl every year, but you know, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they make the playoffs this year. I don't know. Maybe the 17-game season. Maybe that's something that they need. But I mean, you hate to see guys like Khalil Mack and Allen Robinson, you know, these and Akeem Hicks, these elite playmakers, and they're not getting anywhere, you know, and you know,
like wasted potential.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, hopefully we'll get better. I know we got the Bucks tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. But they are down Antonio Brown, and Levante David is out as well. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It's still Tom Brady. So we did beat him last year. So I don't know. We'll see. But Trevor, it was awesome talking. And thanks for listening to the little rant at the end. I know it's a topic that gets both of us heated. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was great. Great talking with you today, and look forward to many future podcasts. All right, I'm Isaiah. That's Trevor, and this was the Locker Room Podcast.
Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Say bye, Gia.